Today in class we talked about writing equations from word problems. Today we're going to look at solving two-step equations as well as writing them. So the hard part is not solving them, it's simply writing them from the equation which we talked about in class. So keep in mind that we write our equations in the form of y equals mx plus b. And remember, sometimes we don't use y and x depending on our situation. So if we look at a word problem situation and we said Melody's friend, I'm just going to paraphrase here, Lena earns $15 an hour and as a lab tech plus an extra $300 per week for another job. Let's say she waitresses at a restaurant on weekends. So if we were to write an equation for this, today in class we talked about diagramming our sentences. We said this per means multiply. So this whole thing, this per hour, this is our M plus $300. Now I realize it says per again, but this is per hour and then this is per week. So this is our B. She's going to start with, she always gets that $300. Let's add to our situation now and say that I want you to write an equation for the number of hours. So represent hours, we're going to use H. Lena works to earn $720. Okay, so we've diagrammed our sentence. So what does our equation look like? Well, this right here, this is what she's earning. This is our Y value. This is how much money she's going to end up with. So we have 720 is equal to, we can say she starts with 300 plus 15H, or X, or they're giving us H, so we really need to use that. But keep in mind that this is our X and this is our Y because that's our end result. So that was what we worked on in class today. Could we solve this? Well, we definitely could. So I'm going to rewrite because I ran out of room. You can keep going where you were. We talked about last year how you need to undo the add subtract first, and then we need to undo the multiply divide. And if you remember, it was like PEMDAS backwards. SADMEP. Because when we do PEMDAS, we know all of the values. So we're going to go backwards. So what is being added or subtracted? This is a plus 300. So we're going to minus 300 from both sides. This part should be review. So we get $420 is equal to 15 times something. How do we undo a multiply? We divide. Remember, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we have 1H is equal to, this is actually going to be 28. So we can say Lena must work 28 hours to earn $720 for the week. So keep in mind, these are our two key pieces right here, this undo, add, subtract, undo, multiply, divide. Let's try one more example. What if I told you, and I'm going to give you another situation here, Melanie needs to record a new CD. She's going to decide she can spend as much as $8,000 on studio time. It's very expensive to do a CD. And it says studio charges $425 to reserve the space, and $75 an hour. So there, if I gave you this equation, what would it look like? Well, let's see. We know this is what we're beginning with. This is our beginning value. And there's that per, which is multiply, so 75 is our M. If I was to write an equation for this, I know I have $8,000, that's my Y. So I have $8,000 is equal to 425 plus 75, H or M or whatever letter you're wanting to use. And what we need to do is how many hours can she record if she has this much money? Again, we're going to go through those steps. We're going to undo the add subtract. So we're going to take away 425. You always want to move the one without the variable. That's your add subtract. You're going to need to borrow here. I did not line up well. I apologize. 9. This is a 7. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 minus 4 is 5. So 75, 75. I need to undo my multiply divide. So I'm dividing by 75. Remember, your goal is always to get that variable alone and positive. So we're going to say H is equal to, well, how many 75s are in 75? 75. 75 doesn't go into 7. It goes into 75 once. Be careful here. It does not go into 7. It goes into 75 again. So she can record for 101 hours. What I'd like you to do is simply practice solving a few equations. And then tomorrow when you come into class, we will look at those and we'll do a little bit more practice with the word problems. So 12n plus 6 equals 78. I'd like you to work these out in your journal. We have 3x minus 5 equals 16. We can try negative 8 is equal to 2x plus 4, because remember, it doesn't matter which number the variable the equal side is on. So the variable can be on the right or the left of it. 2y minus 3 equals negative 9. So keep in mind, undo the add subtract, and then undo the multiply divide, and we will look at this when you come in tomorrow.